Welcome, All Access Coaches Corner. So excited today. This morning, we have a really important guest to me, a friend of mine, one of the best coaches in college basketball. He's been recognized by several publications here recently about his work in college basketball. Conference champion at Stephen F. Austin, assistant there. Great man of God, family man, really good basketball coach all the way around, known as an elite recruiter, but also somebody who gets it done in between the lines with the X's and O's and strategy, and just a guy who not afraid to say who he is and what he thinks, and definitely a guy who's a competitor and a warrior. And like I said, I'm just excited to have him on to share more of his story. So not many times you get to be honored with a guest like Wade Mason because this is not really his thing, but I'm grateful that he's willing to come on and share today. So yeah, welcome.
Appreciate you having me, man.
Yeah, looking forward to it. So we'll just go ahead and jump straight into it, man. Tell everybody that doesn't know you, and even those that do, who is Wade Mason?
Um, well, yeah, that introduction was I mean, I'm not, you know, I'm what this is, what you get. I'm all the publications and all that stuff really don't mean much to me. But Wade Mason, originally from New Orleans, Louisiana. Um, it's just a regular person, man, trying to impact lives the best way I can. Um, using what God's given me to try to reach some of these guys outside of just just a normal interaction. I was blessed with the ability to play basketball and understand the game, and I come from where a lot of these young men that I deal with on a daily basis come from. So I'm just doing what God placed me here to do. Simple, and what you say is what you get.
No doubt, no doubt, no holding any punches, no faking, no none of that. You know, it's
Nah, man.
as real as it gets. That's what I love about you. So, tell us about New Orleans. Tell us about kind of your upbringing. Tell us about family. I know you have an extensive basketball kind of family tree too. So, just tell us a little bit about the New Orleans upbringing, what that place means to you, and how that helps shape who you are.
Um, like I said, originally born in New Orleans, Louisiana, man. And New Orleans is family. Family is everything to me, from my immediate family to my neighborhood family. Just family is everything to me. It's molded me to who I am today. Just to stay humble, keep it real, and never forget where you come from. Raised by my grandmother, man. My dad was he was a Vietnam vet, off on drugs, doing his own thing. My mom, same deal. She was on drugs, doing her own thing. So I was raised by my grandmother. So when you people understand, when you around OGs, old people, they instill, old school moral values in you. So that's definitely embedded in me to this day. But being raised by my grandmother, man, she really couldn't control a young, wild African American male who thought he was slicker than she was and thought he knew more than she knew. She did the best she could, but when I speak on neighborhood in my hood, that's who raised me. Those guys told me when I was young, like, you don't want to be on the block. You're not a guy that want to spend the rest of your life in jail. Be better than us, and that was kind of my focus, man. And then at the same time, I was blessed enough, when I was making the wrong turns, when I was infatuated with street fame and fast money. Um, my ninth grade year, my cousin made it to the league. He wasn't drafted. He made it to the league. So once he made it to the league, man, it was like, okay, there is another way. I mean, there is another way. You don't have to be a rapper or sell drugs. There is another way. So that kind of put my life on a different path, man. And I was like I said, I was blessed and fortunate to have him in my life, and that was a total 360. You went from uh, being on food stamps, being on welfare, till you having a blood cousin playing at the highest level, and everybody's lives change. Not only his and me and my immediate family, but my entire neighborhood, because he was one who took care of everybody. So, that's um, just like I said, man, it was embedded in me from old school values by my grandmother, OGs in my neighborhood, to my cousin making it and giving back. Just something, just in me, something I have to do, something. That's all I know. So, like I said, man, a lot of blessings, a lot of prayers, and to have me here today, definitely.
Yeah, no, no doubt, no doubt. And in that street, anywhere we're from is what makes us who we are. That's the
Yep,
foundation. You know
no
what I mean?
doubt.
So obviously you jumped into the college basketball lane. What did you take from going? Tell us your college basketball route, even your high school route. Obviously, you're a really good player. For those that don't know, and we'll get more into that. But how you were raised and the foundation of New Orleans? How did that help you as you kind of navigated through your playing career?
Yeah. High school, well, played little kid ball, whatever. I was always pretty good. At all sports. Baseball and football was my thing. Football number one, baseball number two. I didn't start playing organized basketball till ninth grade. I mean, I played in the neighborhoods and on the parks and whatever, but just organized, coach, officials. I didn't start playing till ninth grade. And was fortunate, man. Um, AAU coach saw me play and was like, "Man, you have a lot of raw ability. We want you to try out for this AAU team." At the time, it was only two AAU teams in the city, New Orleans, and it was prestigious, a big deal. Um, as you can imagine, having two teams in one city. I never forget, man, going to the tryout, and there's a gym full of dudes, and there's people everywhere, and just that the way I was raised and my neighborhood upbringing, like basketball might not be my thing, but if it's gonna be me or them, it's gonna be me. And I wound up making a team, man. And from that AAU team, they kind of funded us to a certain high school, and uh, there was an all males high school, all male African American high school. Very competitive in the classroom, on the court. It just was competitive in everything we did. And I mean, was able to play with some great guys. A bunch of alumni who took me under their wing. Guys like Kerry Kittles, guys like Avery Johnson. Avery actually paid my high school tuition. Donna Royal, just a bunch of guys who took me under their wing and just told me, the right way to do things and the standard and, the culture of St. Augustine High School. And either, I was go, have 10 toes in, I can get out. I never forget, man, my first day of school, man. We how I was in class with this one dude, and we was from rival projects. His project didn't like my project. My project didn't like his, and it was normally something we would handle on the street. So throughout the whole day, man, he just kept talking, kept this, kept that, kept this. So after school, man, he was asking me, school dismissed and everybody going to their lockers, and he was on the water fountain. I happened to see him on the water fountain, like getting water, and I'm like, oh no. So I ran and punched him while he's on the water fountain, blood everywhere up everybody. It's pandemonium, everybody's going crazy. So I never forget, Kerry Kittles ran and grabbed me, dragged me down the hallway, and he was like, "Man, we don't do that here. Like, we can't, you can't do that here. It's not the street." And it was like a light clicked after that. Like, okay, all right, I'm not on the street. Like, it's not survival savage mode. Like, these people are here to help. Like, this can change my life. And from then on, man, it was like, okay, they invest in me, like let me get in my heart. And that's what I decided to do. And fortunately, man, we won the national championship my senior year, which was 1995. And that was a hell of a class, man. For people that don't know, the 95 class was unbelievable. Stephon Marbury, Chauncey Billups, Vince Carter. I mean, that's just to name a few. Ryan Mercer. There was so many dudes, man. We played a national schedule. Got to play against a lot of those guys. Tim James, I remember him being a killer. Tim James was real. He was good, and we was fortunate enough to win it that year, man. And like I said, it all goes back to my upbringing. You got local Black kids from an all Black high school all black male high school, um, won a national championship, and it just enthused the whole hood, the whole city. Like it made us feel like we were somebody. And until this day, people talk about it, man. And like that's something I always carry with me. And then after that, man, I was fortunate enough to go to Tyler Junior College. At the time, my head coach wanted me to go to Oak Hill, but young and dumb, I didn't know what that was. They was like, man, you got to wear uniforms and this and that. I'm like, oh no, I'm not doing that again. I did that 4 years here. I'm not doing that. Like,
Right.
so, but young and dumb, I look back on it now, like, dang, I could have went with Ryan Mercer and Wayne Turner, all those dudes. But man, I wound up going to Tyler Junior College, which was a great experience. The most talent that I've ever played with in my life. Talent. We had real dudes. Well, number one JUCO player in the country, first of all, Jermaine Owsley. I mean, Tony Mayfield went to Purdue. Rob Turner went to Indiana. I mean, our JUCO team was amazing. And then from JUCO, I was fortunate enough to get an offer back home, to go back home to Tulane, which that move wasn't about me. And I had a bunch of offers coming out of JUCO, but when Tulane called, it was like, I'm going back home. You know what I mean? Like that's a part of, first of all, Tulane is, a high academic institution, and it's located in a part of New Orleans where my kind don't visit frequently.
Right.
That's a part of the city where if you get caught being where I'm from, you're going to jail. So my whole thing was, man, I get to go back home. My family get to experience a different life. Like my family get to cross, my boys, they get to cross the tracks. They get to come on Tulane campus with me, and the 2 years I'm there might be 2 years I could save someone's life because I'm home and they can see me, and they can experience what I'm experiencing on this campus and being around these different type people. So that was my motivation for going back home. And I was able to get my degree, and I took it personal because I wanted kids from my project and my neighborhood to see, like, man, we can go to Tulane, we can graduate, you can do this, you can do what Robert Pack did, you can do what Marshall Falk did. You don't have to be a drug dealer, you don't have to be a killer, you don't have to be a rapper. You can do this and still be a cool dude. So that was my motivation, man. And that was kind of that background, and I carry that with me to this day. When I talk to these young men on a daily basis, and let them know where I come from, and that my experiences was a lot worse than theirs. I didn't have parents. A lot of these dudes have parents. These dudes have cars. Like, nobody in my family had a car, man. So I just try to let them know, what I went through. I know what they're going through. My coaching style is totally different because I've been there, I've done that. And like I said, I was a lot worse off than they were. And it's just my way of touching them and just hands on than rather touching them from a distance. And at the end of the day, Brian, I'm blessed, man. Trust me. People have no idea. Like my family, my immediate family tell me all the time, boy, you need to write a book. Like people have no idea, man. My dad died of a heroin overdose. My mom been on crack cocaine since I was 6, raised by my grandmother. It just people have no clue, man. I look at some of these dudes, some of these kids these days, man, and I'm like, man, they couldn't last a day in my shoes, but it was a lot of blessings, man. Like I said, grandma's prayers, some powerful prayers, man. And not only hers, but I can definitely say I caught her many a days in tears praying for me. And it paid off, man. It paid off. I'm thankful. And like I said, I owe it all to God, man. Because without him, I know they had a cell waiting for me. I mean, I know they did.
Yeah, I love that you just were willing to come on today, man. Like I said, I've been so excited because I just think more people need to know your story. I've obviously gotten to know you from being in the same league during my Lamar days, and
Yeah.
actually even before that when you were at ORU and I was at ATU.
Yeah.
We first kind of got linked up, and
Yeah.
so just being able to see your career through the time, and obviously knowing your faith, that's one part people probably don't know as much about you, even though you were at ORU, and then even just people know how real you are, but people don't know maybe how great of a story you have, and who you are and what your heart is, and even to give back to these kids. So I'm glad you're on here today, man. I love that you touched on so many things from your upbringing and your journey. I'm curious, what was it like, man, and how did you make that assimilation to? I love that you went back home, right, and you had other options, but it meant something to you, and I think that says a lot about who you are.
Yep.
But not only did you go back home, but you did something similar, how I perceive it anyway, to what your cousin did. Your cousin made it out and gave people hope in the city. And you came back to the city and came to the other side of the city that most of the time, like you said, the people from your neighborhood or that you were close to, they didn't get to see that side near as much. Not only were you there, but you were one of the star players on the team, and let's be honest, Tulane from an academic standpoint is a higher standard. So most people from in your circle that you grew up with probably couldn't have made it academically there, probably couldn't have made it socially there. So tell us a little bit about that part of Wade Mason, and how did you make that transition? And what do you feel like, even if you don't maybe know the impact you had, what do you think that did for some of those people to give hope to pay it forward?
I mean, it was tough, man. Hey, I'm not gonna never sit here and tell you it wasn't tough, man. I never forget my very first day, man, on campus. I had a prob stat class, statistics, man, and I walk in the class, man, and first of all, it's movie theater type seating. So, of course I'm late, movie theater type seating, man. I look in there, man, it's like every seat's full. It's like 200 people in there, and it's like mm, three or four black faces. And I turn around, I'm like, nah, this ain't gonna work. And I walk back, man, that class. From that class was on St. Charles Avenue, which was the Peyton Mannings, the Drew Brees, that's where those guys live. So I walked from where that class was on St. Charles Avenue. I walked back to Claiborne, where the basketball offices were. For people that know New Orleans, that's a pretty long walk, and probably about 5 blocks, 6 blocks. And I mean, I walked back, man, to the coach's offices, and I told Perry Clark and Julius Smith, two guys I loved to death. I told both of them, I said, Coach, this ain't gonna work, man. Like this ain't gonna work. So I've never seen that many Caucasians in my life, man. Like, I walk in there all looking at me, this ain't gonna work. And they both was like, wait, like you gotta do it. You know what I mean? Like, I know this is different from you. It's gonna be a process, you gotta do it. And that, like I say, man, I had a lot of people in my corner, man, who was pushing me. It was never about me. I just knew that I couldn't fail. I mean, I couldn't fail. I couldn't let people down. Um, I had made that decision, and I had to take my lick. It was like I got to do it. And not only to save my life, but it saved a lot of people's life. Like I say, man, I'm telling you, I would go from campus when I first got there. I would go from campus to the hood, campus to the hood. I mean, I would leave and go home, and I'm still on the block. Dudes selling drugs. Everybody got guns. I mean, I was comfortable with that. I wasn't comfortable with Tulane campus.
Right.
And over time, man, over time, I was like, you know what? Like, I need to use this, man. I would go in the barber shops and go in the hood and just talk to those dudes like, man, just come hang with me, man. Like, just come on, just come uptown with me. Like, meet some of the girls and, just anything to get them to come. And slowly but surely, man, a lot of my boys start coming stay with me. A lot of them would live with me off and on, whatever the case may be, sleep by me, hang on campus, make their own separate friends on campus. And like I said, man, saved a lot of lives. I mean, I remember one time I'm going to the neighborhood, and one of my boys, I'm over there giving out Tulane gear. Man, at the end of the year, I would take all our gear and all our shoes and go in the neighborhood and give it out. So I'm in the neighborhood. Man. Never forget, man. I remember the street I was on. I'm passing out stuff to everybody, shoes and sweats, to everything, giving all my stuff away. And one of my boys came by on a bike. And I'm like, man, what's up, man? What's going on, man? What's up? He's like, man, nothing, man. About to go handle this. I'm like, handle what? He was like, that boy outside sitting on this porch. I'm going to kill him. I was like, hold on, man. Like, do what you do, but I don't need to be around this. Let me get away from this. And as I got in the car, man, I'm driving back to campus. I'm like, dang, man, like, he's gonna kill somebody else that I know. And that was something I control. I mean, it just wasn't something. Now to this day we talk, and he's in jail now. We talk about the mishaps and all this kind of stuff we did, but that wasn't something I can control, man. And that drove me even further to make sure I get my degree and just be like, kind of a billboard for somebody that made it out of the hood. Because like Marshall Falk was out of the project, he was a legend. Robert Pack was out of the project, he was a legend, and I was next. But I was deep in the street than those dudes were. You know what I mean? I was younger. I didn't have a mom and dad like they had. I was deep in the streets. I was doing whatever, stealing, hustling, whatever I had to do to make ends meet. And like I said, I was infatuated with the fast money, man. So, once I got opportunity to change my life and change the dynamics of other people's lives, I wasn't going to fail no matter what it took. I mean, I was going to get my degree. I was going to graduate. I was going to do whatever I had to do
Right.
to make myself fit in, even if it meant being uncomfortable every day. It was a lot of uncomfortable days, man. Like I say, man, them dudes, they didn't dress like me. They didn't eat like me. They didn't talk like me. Like I was real New Orleans. They was down there for school in Mardi Gras. Like I lived that, So it benefited me. It benefited my family. It benefited my friends, and it also benefited a lot of people I met on campus, who I'm friends with till this day, because they all got to see a different side of the city. A lot of times they would want to come with me, to see outskirts
Right.
of Tulane campus. They
Right.
want to
Right.
see the city. They want to see, you know, uh, the hood side of Mardi Gras, not
Right.
the side of Mardi Gras you see on CNN.
Right.
So like I said, man, it all worked out, but it took me getting uncomfortable. Definitely took me to get uncomfortable, but always had that belief and that drive that I couldn't fail, because, as I said, it wasn't about me, man. When I made the decision to go to Tulane, it definitely wasn't about me. I mean, you think I wanted to go to a school where they cared more about academics than sports? No, I didn't want to do that, but I knew that this was much, much, much more big than me, man. This was for my neighborhood, for my family, for my high school.
Yep.
This was for a lot of people. I was the last one on the totem pole for this one. This was for everybody else. And I knew in my heart that this was my NBA. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
Marshall made it to the league. My cousin made it to the league. If I didn't make it to the league, what legacy could I leave? So I approached that like this was my NBA. This was my
Yep.
legacy.
Yep.
Right away from Tulane, everybody see that like, man, this dude like went to a white school and made it, and he still can come in the neighborhood and be the same dude. And,
Right.
and that was, like I said, man, that was my NBA.
What was it like, Wade, when you actually graduated and when you had the basketball success? Because it's not like you guys were. I mean, you guys had basketball success. So what were both of those things like as you maybe walked across the stage and you look back like, man, I did it. You know what I mean? Did you do it in the way you thought? Was it better than you thought? Because you had a vision when you went in.
Yeah, it was it was fulfilling. Um, I can't say it was never about me, but in that moment it was about me. I mean, I was proud that I was able walk across the stage with people who are frankly well off. Their last name's not Kennedy, but you know, um, you know, I made it. I accomplished the same thing they accomplished. Now, my graduation dinner was gonna be at the Sizzler. You know what I mean? Instead of Ruth Chris Steakhouse like theirs, but we treated it like it was Ruth Chris. Everybody was, like I said, man. My mom was there. Um, she was happy. Probably was high as a kite and don't understand what was going on at the time. But my grandmother dressed up and made her come. My dad was there. Like I said, probably high as a kite, but my family made him come. It just was a moment for everybody, man. Like everybody talk about it, and um, even all my friends. I had a cousin who was an NBA, and when I walked across the stage, this dude ran down the aisle, like and everybody in the audience looking like, wow. Like I had this one girl, she's from Philly, Nicole. Her name is Nicole. She's from Philly, but she was like, hey, when I sat back down in my seat, she was like, hey, you think your family can cheer for me like that? Like it was like
That's cool.
crazy, man. It was like
That's
the
cool.
only ghetto family in the whole graduation. You know, they tell you don't clap and hold your applause. Nah, that's not happening with my
You doing
family.
that.
Y'all might want to call my name last. If that's what you expect, we
Right.
we not about to obey that order.
Right.
Like they know what I've been through to get to this point. So, like I said, man, it was a great moment. Um, my family and we get together. We frequently visit that time because, like I said, man, it wasn't for me, man. It was for everybody. And I think about that all the time. Like I never wavered when I made the decision to go to Tulane. Everybody was mad. People don't like my family know, but Clyde Drexler called me. Clyde had just took the job at Houston.
Houston. Yep.
And Clyde and my cousin played for Portland Trailblazers together. So it was family. And Clyde called me, like, come to Houston, man. It's my first job. You and G Gervin to be together in the backcourt. Me and G had played against each other when he was at San Jack. He was like, man, you and G in the backcourt together. Whatever. I was like, Clyde, I'm going home. And my family was mad. Everybody was mad. I mean, I'm talking about mad. Why are you coming home? Ain't nothing but trouble here. You go back to the street. You go get caught up hanging with the bad boy, this and that. And I had a whole different vision from what they were saying. Like, I'm like, you know what, man, y'all looking at me coming home as a negative, and y'all probably right. But I'm gonna turn this into a positive. Some way, somehow, I'm gonna turn this into a positive. I mean, I understand what all y'all saying, and I respect it, and y'all are probably right. If it was somebody else in my family coming back to this, I would be mad too. But just understand what I'm trying to do. This, if it was about me, if I'd have went to Cincinnati, I'd have went to Memphis with Tick Price. If it was about me, I'd have went to Southern Miss. It wasn't about me. It was about everybody else around me and some of my friends, man, who I can, if I could just get one of them dudes to put a gun down for a day, I did, I made an impact, and that was my whole deal, man. But it was, I'm telling you, it was different, man. I had some people upset with me. High school coaches were mad. Like a lot of people like, man, you made it and you coming back. And nobody understood, like, man, it's not for me. Like my brother around here selling drugs. I got cousins breaking in houses. When I come back, oh, let's go stop. Them dudes got 2 games a week to come to. Or they can come to practice twice a week.
Right.
They can, you know what I mean? Like that was my mindset, but I can't say, man, a lot of the things I did in my life, that's one of my proudest moments because it was a selfless act.
Yep.
Now I've had several selfish acts in my life, but there was a selfless act where a lot of people questioned it. A lot of people questioned me. And to this day, I look back on it, man, some of my friends got families and wives and kids. And, it wasn't all me, but it was a lot of me going back home and just pulling them out of that everyday life, of that our everyday expectations as Black kids growing up in the neighborhood. I wanted to change some of those expectations, and I think I did that.
Yeah, it's powerful. I'm glad you shared. So I've known you all this time. I never knew that part of the story. I just knew that you went home. So I love that you shared. And
It wasn't about me just going to Tulane. Trust me. I mean, it wasn't no predominantly NCAA tournament team. It wasn't no basketball powerhouse.
It makes a lot more sense now. So knowing you and knowing your vision to be different and your convictions that are strong and your belief system, but also your uh, willingness to help and wanting to change and help us as Black people, especially as the young men that you coach. I know how much you pour into those guys. So it doesn't surprise me, you know what I mean, in its own way of just kind of a local legendary type story. You know what I mean? Those are the stories that people in the neighborhood still talking about probably to this day, and you've changed a lot of lives through that. So sometimes we think that the bigger the stage makes it where you make more impact, but when you can come back home, and I know in a bigger scale, LeBron James, he wanted to do that with Cleveland. That's why he wanted to do that. I think there's a lot of guys that have that heart to want to go back home and put your home on the map and do things in your home that people thought couldn't be done. So I love hearing that about that part of the story. Share how you got into the college game, man. I know you've worked with and you're a part of some really big family trees in college basketball that don't just happen overnight. and
Yeah.
aren't easy to get into. So tell us the story of how you kind of got into college basketball and how it all led to where you are now.
Man, when I was when uh after college, I actually played in Venice 2 years. And my daughter, who I had in 2000, Halloween, October 31st, 2000, she diagnosed with sickle cell. So while I'm overseas, man, she constantly having pain crisis, sickle cell crisis, um, blood transfusions. She had to have a spleen removed, and it just was too much um, on her mom and her mom's family and my family, for me to be selfish and be away, chasing my dream and hear all my people, and my child back home suffering. So it just was too much. So I decided just to, hey man, this is, again, I'm on the back burner. This is about my child. So I decided to stop playing, man, and came back home. And it all goes back to blessings, man. I was blessed enough to walk across the stage and get my degree. Therefore, it gave me opportunities for jobs. I was able to get me a job, man, working in corporate America, making great money. One of the only black males in my company, in that part of the country, in that part of the company, I might add. And man, just everyday life, man, just working and being around my family, able to provide for my family, um, being at the hospital with my daughter, being able to go to hospital appointments and hospital visits with my daughter, understanding sickle cell, and because it was something I had never heard of in my life until it affected me, and my family through my daughter, and I was just living, man, just living, and after a while, after my daughter got older, by the time she was maybe 6, um, and I was always a dude, man. When I go to a gym, or if I'm riding by a playground, I would see kids playing. I would stop and talk to them about this and that. But they all think you old, you don't know what you're talking about. But I would
Right.
always do that for free, for nothing. It just was just who I am. It's just in me. And then I started coaching AAU, and one of my old JUCO coaches, Chris Crutchfield, called me. Man, we always stay in touch, but and I stay in touch with all my coaches, high school, everybody. But Crush called me one day, man. He was taking a job at Oklahoma. And he was like, man, you was one of the guys who always, him and Perry Clark both would say it, man, you was one of the guys who always had an IQ, always had a feel. Like we never had to worry about you when it came to the game and knowing the nuances. Would you want to coach? And I was like, nah, I mean, yeah, I ain't into politics, but of course, I mean, if I, coaching or whatever, I mean, because, I'm just not I'm not into the political stuff. I think I'm too solid and too real for all of that stuff. You know, with a lot with that comes a lot of kissing up, and I ain't fake friends, fake hugs. I ain't really with that. I stay in my lane, stay in my circle, and then just try to do my thing. And that was my whole point with him. He was like, well, you'll be around some really good people. Him and Lou Hill was sort of the same type dudes as me. Lon Kruger don't have a big circle, so Crush kind of went through the dynamics with me and told me they thought it would be good for me, man. And hey, man, I jumped out on fate, man. I left for $83,000 a year job with a kid and went back to grad school. And with me, my whole thing was, hey, man, I got my family's blessing. If I fail, at least I have my master's, which
Mhm.
opened up more doors.
Right.
And man, I did it, man. I went down and I was fortunate enough to be around Coach Kruger and learn the game from one of the best. I mean, you talk about a dude who was an NBA coach back in the day when college coaches wasn't in the league. Um, just an all around great person, great human being, one of the smartest people I ever met in my life. Unbelievable. The dude has a calculator in his brain. Just see, he was phenomenal. You talk about check all the boxes. And I was fortunate enough to be around him. I was fortunate enough to be around Steve Henson, who was also just a genuine, great all-around person. I actually spent a lot of time with Steve, just scouting reports and picking his brain. Crutch, I mean, it's, ain't really much you can say about that dude. He's one of the best. And then Lou Hill, man, who um, was like Crush was like a brother, but Lou was like a dad that I never had, because Lou was like me. Like Lou was a hood dude, um, but he went through the phase of being uncomfortable and changing to get where he wanted to get to provide for his family. And I was like, these are the kind of people I want to take from each and every one of them. As I move up this coaching ladder. I was lucky. I had no idea I would go there and get a job. I had no idea, but it worked out. We happened to play Oral Roberts, and Crush introduced me to Oral Roberts' entire staff, not just one person, but the entire staff pregame. And lo and behold, after the season, Scott Sutton called me, and it wasn't no interview, it wasn't no nothing. He was like, enough people speak highly of you, people that I trust, um, people whose opinions I value. Would you like the opportunity? And man, I took it and ran with it. And then once again, man, I fell into a situation where you're around great people in a basketball family. I was able to be around Scott Sutton, who's as nice of a person as there is on the face of this earth. Scott Sutton, who is not, and sort of like me, Scott is a regular person. Basketball is his job and basketball is his life, but basketball don't make him. He's not of basketball. Like, he's one that showed me that family is important. Like, Scott would take his daughter on the road with him. His daughter's on the road with him. So, like I said, man, I was fortunate enough to be around some great people. Sean Sutton, Kyan Brown, Steve Upshaw, just Conley Phipps, great people at a great institution also. Again, man, so it's a different part of the country, a different coaching style. I was fortunate enough to be around Eddie Sutton. Just, hey, man, just a basketball blessing. And after 4 years there, Kyle Keller called me, who was one of my coaches at JUCO. And he was at A&M at the time, and he told me he was getting a Stephen F's job, and he wanted me to come. And again, man, I'm like, man, I don't know, man. Like, Coach Sutton's the best. Um, this might be a dude I want to, be around, learning the game, in his family. He's not, again, of basketball. Like, some of these dudes are, without basketball, there is no them. He's totally different, So, and one day Coach Sutton came in my office and was like, wait, if you don't go with Kyle, you crazy. And that was the words I needed to hear, because I really wasn't down for change that soon.
Right.
I had only been there 4 years. I had been in Oklahoma for a total of 5. And he was like, man, Kyle, you trust Kyle, you played for Kyle. Trust me to be different. And man, I again stepped out on faith. Came here to Stephen F. Austin with Coach Keller, man, a guy I played for. And hey, once again, man, around a person that I love and I respect. You hear a lot of coaches use the cliche family this, family that, family this. This ain't a cliche. I played for him. Ain't no more family than that.
Right.
I played for the dude when I was 18, 19 years old. And,
Right.
So it all worked out. It was something I needed. Again, getting out of that comfort zone, something I never had a problem doing. Something I always embraced, getting uncomfortable, and it's worked out for the best, man. He's a great coach. He genuinely cares. I think he cared a little bit too much. I stay on him about that a lot. I think he put himself and his family on the back end a lot when it comes to his players and his program. But that's conversation that he and I have all the time. But again, he cares. And it's been fortunate, man. His care, his love, his passion, his grind, it shows up. And what we've been fortunate enough to do here, recruited good players, and it's just been a blessing, man, to win and continue to win. Again, like a lot of decisions I made in my life, people told me I was making the wrong decision. What was I thinking? I was a fool. I had one coach tell me, "Man, you going to Stephen F. Austin with Kyle? Man, you crazy. Y'all can't do what Brad did. You don't replace it. You don't replace a guy that had that much success. You replace the guy that get fired for replacing the guy that had that much success." I'm saying to myself, man, you don't know who you're talking to, man. Like, man, my mom, my dad, man, like, you know where I come from? And that was my driving force. That was the chip on my shoulder. And it's still the chip on my shoulders to this day. I know Coach Keller has one. Everybody else on the staff has one for whatever reason. I definitely have one. And I think during the recruiting process, we identify kids that have that same chip. And when they get here, man, we make that boulder even bigger. And I think it's helped us have success.
Yeah, let's get straight into that, man. I love again can keep talking about all these different things you keep sharing because there's a lot of different tangents we could go off and just have a whole
Yep.
hour long on just one of those. But
Yep.
let's talk about Stephen F. Austin. Let's talk about recruiting those players with a chip on your shoulder, recruiting players. I've been in recruiting battles with you. I don't even know if it's a battle because when you get in a conversation of recruiting with Stephen F. Austin, most of the time you probably want to turn the other way, to be honest. And we talk about it some in the industry, right? Like it's one thing when Coach Keller is involved with recruiting as a head coach and he works at it as much as anybody.
Oh
There's
yeah.
no doubt about that. He's relentless. He's in the gym. He's on the phones. He's connecting.
Yeah.
But there are certain assistants that have a tendency to bring a presence. And I don't know if it's necessarily instill fear, but they definitely make you have to either be on your A game or they make you want to say, you know what, I don't know if it's worth our time. We may not be able to win that battle. And I think you built a reputation, Wade Mason has, especially at Stephen F. Austin. You did it at ORU in a different way, but you definitely have done it at Stephen F. Austin in a major way. So talk a little bit about the what you guys have built in your own way, different than the last regime. And all credit to those guys; they did a great job before you, but you guys have done it in a different way than even they did it, and you guys have put Stephen F. Austin even on a different map than they were before. I mean, beating Duke in that game last year, which I'm sure we'll talk more about, but just touch on some of the milestones, how you guys have done it, what's been the approach. Share about Stephen F. Austin that people don't know.
Man, Coach Keller, he had a vision. As we all do, Brian. I mean, assistant coaches, man, we probably have notebooks and notes and sticky notes everywhere, things you want to do.
Right.
And Coach Keller, man, one thing about him, he has visions, ideas, dreams, throughout his 30 years of coaching. But one thing about him I respect and I love that he also had notes and sticky notes and notes on napkins that he jotted over his coaching career of things not to do. Like I think a lot of people have things they want to do, and they're taking this from this guy they work for, this guy, that guy. But Coach Keller, he's different. He took a lot of notes on what not to do, and I think that along with his drive and his work ethic, has established a culture here, man. That's different because Stephen F. Austin already had a culture. I mean, Danny Casper was a killer. Um, when Brad got here, he was a serial killer. So when we came, everybody looked at us like, man, y'all gotta. There's no way y'all can keep that standard. There's no way y'all can. And I just think, from a standpoint of the staff, man, Coach Keller did a good job of putting the puzzle together of pieces that fit. Like, we couldn't have no cowards on this staff. Like, you couldn't have dudes who weren't ready for a fight. Period. Like, whether it was a recruiting battle, whether it was a real fight, whether it was whatever it was, you couldn't have dudes who were scared because we was coming into a situation where we were already supposed to fail based on the level of where this program had been already. So again, man, it's all Coach Keller vision. Smart dude, man, smart dude. And he put together a puzzle that fit. I mean, it totally fit. And we just everything feeds off him, man. We knew, okay, in recruiting, it's got to be guys like us. It's got to be guys with chips on their shoulders and something to prove, but it's also got to be guys that fit what he want to do. And I mean, we just kind of followed that script, man, and we've been fortunate. I mean, um, simple, man, just like everybody else, try to get better every day, every day. Like we lose sleep um, behind not getting better. When you leave, you don't think you got better that day. I think as a staff as a whole, we lose sleep, and we just try to get the players to wanna win, wanna care as much as we do. Um, and I think another thing that that's helped us in winning on the court is our focus in winning off the court. We have so many guys on our staff who've won off the court, and I think that's talked about, in our walls and in our locker room more than winning on the court. You have Coach Kellerman and being fired, this job, that job, this job, that job. He had to be resilient and win off the court. Jeremy Cox, this dude been fired so much. I mean, he have professional movers on speed dial. He definitely had to be resilient. And then me, I mean, just my upbringing, last season battling cancer. I mean, so our guys see winners outside of basketball, and so I think that coincides with us being able to be demanding, and getting the best out of them, and then the win and take care of itself.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. You touched on a big topic, and I was obviously, being a friend of yours and being somebody who's in your corner.
Yeah.
I was on the phone texting you probably more than you probably wanted me to. I was, I took a trip to drive down to NAC after when you were in the hospital.
First surgery.
Yep, first surgery. So it's a heavy topic even for me because I got so much joy in my heart for you, and knowing not only what you went through and how you finally got to get some of the roses that you deserve in this industry. People started recognizing, people started reaching out, people started showing love, and I remember the Duke game, literally like surveying to make sure. I was pretty sure you were already there, but when I knew you were there, I was like, "This is God right here." You know what I mean? This is
no
God.
doubt.
You can't have that historic of win. For talk about legacy, you talked about having that chip on your shoulder. You talked about having that belief and that vision. You talked about I can't lose, and you took that into that battle with cancer. And not only did you get to overcome it, but then you got to coach with your team again, and then you got to have this historic win. So talk about the diagnosis, whatever you want to share, when you found out, how you found out, and then just that journey to where you are now.
It was a hell of a journey, man. I think about it every single day, several times a day. It is crazy, man, because when you actually came down to see me in the hospital, that was after the first surgery. Like I thought everything was good. Like
we both did.
Yeah, I'll never forget, man. Like waking up out of surgery, and then like we got it. It was just a get well phase. Like get out the hospital, get your strength back, and you'll be okay. And I never forget, man, sitting there talking to you and just getting out of the hospital and thinking I was good, man. I'm thinking, okay, that was just a bump in the road. I'm back full speed, and man, that was in June, and then here in July. I mean, I got to get the word that it spread. And now it's stage 4. This just was a complete whirlwind. But once again, man, it wasn't me, man. Like it wasn't nothing I did. People ask me all the time. I did an interview with MD Anderson on yesterday. Like people ask me all the time, man, what you did? How you, I just lived, man. Like I lived, and like my grandmother would always tell me, like I let go and I let God. Like I let go of me and let go of thinking I can control every situation, and
Right.
I put it in the hands of the Lord. And there was a lot of prayers from a lot of different people, and then I was fortunate to overcome, man. But it ain't no script to beating cancer. I mean, I'm still afraid. I got a CT scan in December. I don't know if it's coming back. I pray daily that it doesn't. But I don't know. I just knew from a standpoint of, okay, what I got to do. Like, can't cry, um, can't fold, can't lose, because once again, it's not about me. I had a hell of a run. Like, I had a hell of a life. I had a hell of a run. I have kids. You know, this world is savage. My kids are not killers. My kids didn't grow up like I did. So my mind instantly went to, all right, man, like, I don't know how long I got left to live. I got to do whatever I got to do um, to instill as much of me in them while I have time. And that's what my focus switched to, man. Like, it wasn't about the cancer no more. It wasn't about Stephen F. Austin. It wasn't about basketball. It wasn't about my family. It was about my son and my daughter. I like, I got to make them killers overnight. Like, they got to be able to see the real from the fake. They got to be able to, they just got to be able to, deal with life as it come. They got to be able to hustle if need be. They got to be educated. They got to be able to, go on MLK Boulevard and hold their own. They got to be able to go on Wall Street and hold their own. They just got to be able to, play. They just got to be able to live in the world on the world terms. And my whole focus shifted to that. So with that being my focus, I knew I had to do whatever I had to do to make it. Like, whatever the doctors told me, I had to do it. I couldn't cry. I couldn't fold. I couldn't think negative. I just had to think win every day. And that was my deal. Every day I laid down at night, no matter the pain, the chemo, the nausea, the vomiting, whatever it was, every night I went to sleep out, man, did I win this day? Like, did I win? Did I complain? Did I not better my kids' lives? Like, did I not take another step to prepare them mentally? Like, I had a checklist, and I checked off that list every night before I went to sleep. And the next morning I woke up ready to attack it again. And I mean, that's how that was my focus. Now, once again, though, how I overcame and how I beat it, simple, man. Like, the old folks would always tell me, man, I let go and I let God. So many times we think we control situations, we control this, we control that. We want things on our time. And I fight with that to this day. But when I sit down and really, really, really think and evaluate what's going on around me, man, you don't control nothing. Like, nothing moves on your time. And so many people fight with that. And that's why I tell people all the time, cancer wasn't a curse to me. It wasn't a gift either. Wasn't a gift. I mean, I still have a port in my chest, and still got to take CT scans and this and that, but vitamins and all kind of stuff. But it wasn't a curse. It wasn't a gift, but it was in the middle. Like, I needed it not only for me, but once again for all my boys and all my friends. And the first thing I did when I was diagnosed, man, I called all my boys. Like, yo, man, go get a colonoscopy. Man, what's that? I had boys that's in their 40s and didn't have a clue what that was. I called, never forget, man, called Kerry Kittles. I'm like, Slim, man, go, you got to get a colonoscopy. Oh, man, my doctors told me I don't need that till I'm 50. I'm like, you go argue with me? Like, I have cancer. Like, I'm telling you, don't
Right.
do what I did. Just
Right.
go get it. So he called me back like a week later. Man, I made my appointment. Man, you was right. Man, you was right. I'm like, duh. Like, I'm telling you, I'm going through it. This ain't nothing I'm assuming. I'm dealing with this. And that, you wouldn't believe how many people I had those conversations with, man. But again, man, like, I was a vessel. Like, God was using me to touch people that I love and people in my circle, man. And I have boys, to not only my boys, but their wives hit me. Like, man, he went. My whole family, they went. They had their colonoscopy. They fine everything. Cause my thing was, man, we don't know. We don't know. We from the hood, man. We ain't educated on that. Like, dudes was in their 40s and ain't never had one. I had never had one. I was forced to have one because of initially how I was feeling, and I went to the doctor, and it went from me being anemic to, have you ever had one? No, doc, I haven't. You need to have one. And me waking up from one and them telling me I have cancer. So like I say, man, it was God's plan, it was God's will, and he used me. and I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. When I had my diagnosis at MD Anderson, you go through a whole week, man, a test and this. It's tests about other tests, and they get it all right. Go through your family tree, everything. And that last day, man, you going with your family, and they let you know what the diagnosis is. And they told me after going through my family tree, it doesn't run in my family that I was the luck of the draw. And I'm like, oh man, you got to be kidding me. Like, man, why could my luck be winning the lottery? But
Right, right.
like once again, man, hey man, if God chose me to do it, let's do it. But I know me going through this will benefit a lot of people. Not benefit per se, but wake a lot of people up to take the next step and making sure that they're healthy, So and again, man, it went from me having sickle cell to like, man, how you handle that to how you handle your daughter had, man, hey man, I couldn't cry one day. Like I snapped out of it so quick because I'm thinking to myself, man, how can I cry about having cancer and my daughter have sickle cell? Like she can't beat sickle cell. That's for the rest of her life. So how could I possibly be down and cry about something that I have a chance to actually beat? And hey man, like I say, put it in the hands of the Lord and fought it every day and kept it moving.
Yeah, inspirational story for all of college basketball as you were going through it, man. I know you got texts from all over
A
and
lot
people
of prayers,
reaching
man.
out,
A
a
lot
lot
of
of
prayers.
prayers, a lot of people rallying, but it just kind of gave that it's just kind of another explanation point to your story and who you are of just being that warrior, being that there's a saying, God gives his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers, right? And
Yep.
so you being that soldier that other people can draw strength from, like, okay, not only did he make it out like his cousin made it out, he came back and he did something that nobody wanted him to do, and he made it to a positive. So that changed lives.
Yep.
Then you get into college basketball and you're changing lives with what you do every day and how you impact young people and share your story and relate to them. Then you have this not wanted thing happen to you, right? Nobody wants that.
No.
But you made it into a positive because of how you approached it, because of how you spoke about it, because of how you coaching in the games. You're back in practice. It's like, coach, go sit down. Nah, I'm not sitting down. Like I didn't put all that time fighting behind the scenes
Yep.
to just go sit on the couch.
Yep.
Like I want to be able to do what I love to do what I was born to do,
Yep.
and inspire people that way. So it's almost like again, strongest soldiers. I just love that. I don't love that it happened to you, but I love how you have spun it the whole time. And of course, I was, not there in Nacogdoches with you every day, but as much as I could, I was on your phone, blowing you up, wearing you out, like making sure even if you did have a bad moment that, you're allowed to be human. So
Yeah.
I love what
That.
you,
Never forget it.
yeah, have been able to do. So proud to call you a friend, man. You inspired so many of us. It's like, how could I think I'm having a bad day when I've seen him, I saw him, and I know what he felt when he thought it was over, and
Yeah.
then it came, we find out even more. So I'm just so proud of you, and I love that more people get to know the inside of your story because more people, even in the college basketball ranks, like you said, you put your head down, you stay in your lane, you don't worry about the politics. So people don't really always get to know Wade Mason like maybe those that have gotten to know you. So I think it was a great insight that God used to use a tough situation to bring light not only to you but to inspire more people, and now you're one of the people that people look at like, yo, you can beat this. Some people don't have a visible person that they know that has cancer
Yeah.
that they
No,
can
I
speak
didn't.
to in their life,
I
right?
didn't. Yeah.
Right.
Which
So
is,
so to
which is
be that,
tough. Which is
right,
tough. You know.
so to be that person now, I think just goes so much to you. So I end with two questions, or I'll kind of shift to two more questions. How is your coaching style? It was already different, right? You already had a different security and comfort and confidence and swagger about how you do things. But how has your coaching style changed? And then what's one thing that you would want people to know about you that they don't really know, that they don't get a chance to know, maybe because they don't take the time to get to know, or maybe they don't have an access to get to know you. What's something you'd want people to know about Wade Mason, and then how has it changed your coaching approach?
Man, my coaching style. Um, has definitely changed. I'm to the point now where I'm a perfectionist, and I've diagnosed myself, not a doctor. I was a fake doctor. I diagnosed myself with OCD. Like, I'm one of them dudes where if my shoebox not turned the right way, if not, I mean, like
Right.
it's sickening. Trust me. But and I fought that. Like, everything can't be perfect. Turn the blind out of this. Let this go. Deal with this next week. Now I'm like, no. Like, whatever I see that's not right, I correct it. Like, if I see a kid not in the stance on the play, I might give him the next play to see if he. But then I gotta correct it. Like, I can leave um no stone unturned, if you understand what I'm saying. Because again, I don't know how long I'm gonna be here. Like, I can't put off today for tomorrow. I can't put off this moment right here for tomorrow, because there might not be a tomorrow. And that has changed with me. I'm meticulous. I was always meticulous, but now it's like everything. A kid might make a shot. Man, that wasn't a good shot. You didn't find the seams. They're like, dang, Cody, it went in, but it's like, I gotta tell you now because I might not be able to tell you tomorrow.
Mm.
Like, I think I value every second, every moment now, as opposed to pre-cancer. I was like, okay, oh well, keep it moving, deal with it tomorrow. No, let's deal with it now. Let's deal with it. Let's deal with it now. It might not be a tomorrow. So from a coaching standpoint, definitely, I've definitely changed in that instance. And then something I want people to know about me, man, just never quit, man. Like, it's redundant. You hear it all over again. Um, it's simple and plain. But so many times in life, people quit, whether mentally, physically, emotionally, people quit. And um, I'm one who've never quit nothing in my life. Like, nothing. Like, um, at 6 years old, man, my mom was arrested for possession of crack. I mean, my brother talk about it. We laugh about it all the time. She was arrested. I was 6. My brother was 5, and we stayed in our apartment that night by ourselves. Didn't let our family know. The next day, my aunt happened to come by, and, boy, what y'all doing here by yourself? And then it went to, us going to live here, going to live there, and ended up with my grandmother. But quit never crossed my mind. My dad died of heroin overdose. Quit never crossed my mind. Not having stuff other kids had growing up. Quit never crossed my mind. It just, in no instance, quitting has ever crossed my mind. And I know so many people, loved ones, friends of mine, who've quit. This, if there's something I want people to remember about me and my legacy, never, don't quit, man. Like, put it in the hands of the Lord, pray, and do your part to change whatever situation you're in, that you're not proud of, whatever situation that you want to better. But don't quit. Don't quit. Quitting is not an option. Like, I tell my kids all the time, ain't no quitting. Like, I took my son to play golf one time, and he swung and missed the ball, and he was so disappointed. He was like, Dad, I ain't never did it before. I'm like, so what? We doing it now. Whether you great at it or suck at it, we ain't go quit. And, like, quitting is, I'm allergic to quitters.
Mm.
Like, I can't stand bullies, and I can't stand quitters. And I have major problems with those two types of individuals. And that's something I want people to just not only take from me, but when you think about me, think about never quit, man. Like, never. In no situation, um, whatever life throws at you, never quit. Deal with it, deal with it, to the best you can, man. Fold before you quit. Just fold and just empty your tank before you quit. But um, make sure it's hard to live with yourself, knowing you had something left in your tank and you quit. Because as you said, it's somebody, you might not be able to see him, you might not believe it, but it's somebody somewhere whose situation is worse than yours. And that's hard for a lot of people to fathom, man. Like even me being diagnosed with cancer, you know, I go down to MD Anderson, man, which is a whirlwind. A whirlwind. And I go down there, man, there's people who cancer is terminal.
Mm-hmm.
Like they got dates. Like they got dates where they're going to expire. And I'm like, man, yeah, I'm walking around here, man, like, woe is me, the end of the world. And these people go die. And they know when they go die. And here I got a chance to beat it and live life. I'm like, oh no, man. You know, like, nah. It's always somebody whose situation is worse than yours. Like growing up, I hated the saying, my grandmother would tell me, you know, I got a pair of Pro Kids or whatever, you know, fake Stan Smiths, Adidas. Mine says Stan Johnson instead of Stan Smith. And all the kids at school, you know, ribbing me and wound up having a fight. And she would always tell me, you crying and complaining about shoes when a man crossed the street don't have no feet. And you know, I would hear it and it would resonate. And I was like, man, I don't want to hear all that, man. I want to shoot everybody, you know, but there's always somebody whose situation is worse than yours, man. So how could you quit? And that's hard for a lot of people. Hey man, it's not easy. That's hard for a lot of people. It is. It is. It's truly hard because even with me telling you this, it's certain situations where you really, really might think it's the worst or it's the lowest. And it might be for you, but it's not in the grand scheme of things. It's not, you know, so.
Yeah, well said. Well said. I would love to end, and I'm a project this. You don't have to say it, but scenario-wise, right? Let's say you're blessed with the opportunity to lead a program, which I know how qualified you are. Those that know you know how qualified you are. But we do know there's an element sometimes in college basketball where you never know how things are going to go.
Yeah.
But let's say that blessing does happen. You're leading a program. Either you're at your introductory press conference or you're just having your first team meeting with your team as a head Division I coach. What, other than not quitting, because I think you've established that, what will your team, what will your program represent? What would that look like for you in that, and we'll kind of phase out on that.
Family, which goes back to the beginning of our conversation. Everything's gonna be about family. We go win together, we go struggle together, we go cry together. Family, we go do what families do. Love, because you can't have no success without love. I mean, we see that right now in our times with this country. I mean,
Amen.
you can't have any type of success without love and no type of relationship. And then respect. Respect. I mean, you go respect who you are. You go respect the program that you representing. You go respect your family till you don't do nothing to embarrass your family's name. You go respect your teammates, and then you go respect your opponents enough to better yourself to beat them. And those are, I mean, my pillars. Everybody have different ones, but those are my pillars that I think you know, you can lump a lot of things into those three pillars, in my opinion.
No, I love that. I've actually never heard that. I've heard a lot of them, but I love the respect part. Most people don't really always realize how.
Because respect, if I respect Stephen F. Austin, the program, I'm gonna compete.
Yep.
I'm gonna do what I gotta do to win. I'm gonna do what I gotta do to keep it at the standard where I found it,
Yep.
because I respect it.
Yep.
Or because I love it. Or because this is my family. You know, so you know.
You spawn in a lot of ways. Respect your teammates. That helps you be a better teammate. Respecting your opponents. That helps you be more ready to respecting the process of being great. Respecting. I mean, there's so much that goes into that. So I love that aspect. And then most people don't always want to put love in there. It's like it's almost they think it's assumed, but that's the most powerful weapon we have. I say it all the time.
The most powerful, man. The most powerful.
So I love that you had those. Well, I love today, man. I'm honored. Like I said, I know this is not really your thing. This is not your lane. I can't say enough how extremely humbled and grateful I am that you came on. I love that more people get to know your story. So I'll let you kind of close with whatever words you want to close with, and then I'll just thank you so much for coming on, man. Always in your corner, always a brother to me, and whatever I can do, I'm always gonna do, and still praying for you and pulling for the Lumberjacks. Now that I'm not in the league no more, now that I don't have to recruit against you no more, I'm good with that.
Yeah, nah, man. Hey, man, I appreciate you having me. You know, like I said, with you, it's way bigger than basketball. Like a lot of times, I talk to people about real relationships and working relationships. Like, um, it's real with us, and we don't have to talk every day. This dude was there for me when a lot of people wasn't. Not
Yep.
that they had to be. They
Yep.
didn't have to be. That's not. They don't owe me that. But
Yep.
I respect the fact that you was. I didn't ask you to come to the hospital. Didn't you? Did it on your own.
Yep.
You know, and I appreciate it to this day. My mom appreciated it to this day. Coach Kelly and my staff appreciate it to this day. Like, you know, it's appreciated by me and people I love. You know, so when it comes to you, man, respect, like I said, was never about basketball, because to me, I can never respect you as a basketball coach or a basketball person if you're not a good person. You know, and one thing I could say about you, and I will stand on it, that you are a good person. Um, you anointed, and you just a good person, man. Like me and you talk about stuff and dealing with this business. When I'm ready to punch somebody in their face, you know,
Right.
you one of the dudes I hit. You know what I mean? You got to reel me back in sometimes, and I have enough respect, belief in you to know that you go reel me back in.
Yep.
You know, it's been a lot of times I'm ready to go to gas and pump one of them dudes in their mouth. You know what I mean? Real quick. And I have to talk to you real, you know, you tell me like, well, yeah, you know, but you know, it's just what it is. I have that much respect and love for you and the person that you are. It ain't about basketball. I don't call you about how should I guard this, or what do you think about this action? It ain't about that with you. You know,
Yep.
it's about real life and real life situations with you. And that's the ultimate respect of a man to me.
Yep.
You
I
know.
appreciate that. I appreciate that, man. Like I said, I was shocked. So Anitra, of course, is behind the scenes making things happen, and I couldn't believe it. Really, I had to go back to it a few times. Like, Wade didn't say he's coming on. You sure you messaged the right person?
Yeah.
Wade ain't coming on. Wade don't do stuff like this. You don't
Nah,
know Wade like I
I
know
ain't
Wade.
doing
So
this.
like I said,
I ain't doing all that,
big,
man.
big,
Coach
big
Carson,
deal,
coach,
big
I ain't
big
doing
deal to
it.
me, man. I think a lot of people will get a lot from it, and I'm glad you're willing to do it. And like I said, I'm in your corner. I'm excited to see what you'll continue to do and the lives you'll continue to impact, man. So salute to you, man. Good luck this season. Stay healthy, and looking forward to it, man. Appreciate so much you coming on.
Appreciate it, bro.
Okay, fam.
All right, later.